Life with Susan Harf. Thanks for joining us for tips and strategies from our favorite life coach, Susan, on how to live our very best life and to get through those sometimes tricky areas that pop up along the way. Hi, everyone. I'm Rose Martin. Thanks for joining us, and I can't wait to hear what's on her mind today. Hi, Susan.
Hi, Rose, and thank you for joining us. So, what do you do when you don't like your son or daughter-in-law? This is a tricky one. And frankly, I've had several clients come to me with this problem.
And this is already, they've already been married. They're already married, so
Yeah.
it's a done deal.
It's a done deal, so that's what I want to focus
Yeah.
on. Because it's not about, they're not dating, this person's in your family. The first thing that you do is something you don't do. If you don't like this person, you must believe then that they do things that offend you, or you don't like perhaps the way they treat your child, which is even worse. What you don't do is you don't treat them badly. And the reason, there are many reasons, but one of the reasons you don't is because this is someone who you've decided you don't like the way they act. Don't make them your teacher. So if you don't like the way they behave, don't behave like them. Mm-hmm. If you don't believe, for instance, some clients have said they're not respectful enough to me. They don't treat me as a parent, not necessarily. They're not looking for them to treat them as their parent, but they're in the parent role with the couple, and they don't find that the son-in-law treats them as such. Okay, but then don't treat them as though they're not one of your children, because essentially they are.
Do as to others.
Well, yeah, and also, if your value is you were hoping to like this person, treat them as though you do, because you can. Mm-hmm. You can try and find things about them that you do love, or maybe not love, but like. So I'm thinking about a client.
Your child loves them.
Your child loves them. I'm thinking about a client right now who is in a very unfortunate position because they don't like the person, because they truly are not. It's not just that they're not kind to them. This is somebody who dropped out of school, has been through many jobs, doesn't seem to be able to keep a job for very long, does not like the way he treats their daughter. He's very crass. He is not kind to their animals. I mean, this is somebody who really is just not a nice guy, not a good guy. And they believe their daughter is a wonderful person, and I'm sure she is. And so it's not just that they don't like him, they believe that he was a bad choice for her. And so that's a very, very tricky situation. And so what I told them is, think about something, anything that you do like about this person, and try and imagine that you could say something nice to him. So this is somebody who happens to be a really good artist. And one of the things he's done is he's painted paintings of his daughter, of his wife, their daughter, and just does a lot of art that's around their house. Mm-hmm. So I invited them to, the next time they went over to their daughter and son-in-law's house, to comment on the art. And they did. And they said, we've never really noticed some of these pictures over here, and these are just beautiful paintings. He had never heard anything complimentary come out of their mouths. Oh. Because they're so absorbed with all of this other negativity about him. It sort of changed the dynamic, at least for, I'm not saying that they are best friends now, but that kind of interaction can change a dynamic that exists that is not positive. Okay. Now, aside from I don't want you to treat that person the way you believe they treat you. Aside from that, one of the things that they need to come to terms with, and if you do not like your son or daughter-in-law, the thing that you got to come to terms with is the fact that you're not going to change it. And if you try and change it, if you speak to your daughter, for instance, about how you don't like the son-in-law, it is only going to make your child more upset around you, because you're putting them in a position where they have to defend them. And so instead of maybe allowing her to come to her own conclusion about her husband, because if he's doing these things that over and over again are not working, they're obviously not working for the marriage. I mean, if he's not holding a job, does not have an education. This man dropped out of high school. He doesn't have a high school education. He can't hold a job. She's working their daughter's working 2 jobs. They now have a little one. It's a very tough life for them. They want their daughter to come to the conclusion that this is a bad egg, but she's not going to come to that conclusion if you are constantly making her defensive about him. So one of the things not to do is to keep at it with her, to keep just hammering her with what a lousy guy he is.
You know what? She doesn't have the energy, right? Because she's so busy defending him and trying to build him up in their presence. She doesn't have the energy or the time to reflect on what's really going on in her life.
Exactly. She doesn't. And so you're hoping that your child, who's married to the wrong person, you want them to come to that conclusion themselves. Now, okay, so that's part 2. Part 1 is don't act like them. Part 2 is you want them to come to that conclusion. Don't constantly be hammering your child and pitting her against him, because it won't happen that way. She'll be more defensive. Part 3 is you need to come to a place where you accept that this is her choice, because she may not change it. She may never divorce him. She may be with him for the rest of her life. And if that is her choice, then the best you can do is to not create distance between you and her, because she's going to need you. She's going to need you for support. She's going to need you for moral support. She sometimes is going to need you to babysit. She's going to need you to maybe take the children off her hands so that she has a break sometimes. The point is that you don't have to agree with her choice in order to be civil to him and in order to make a pleasant environment happen when you're with them. It's possible. You focus on the positive, focus on the children, focus on her. Do not get yourself in this situation. They are politically not aligned. They were constantly sort of being in conflict over that. I'm telling them, pull back on that. Do not discuss politics with him. You're not interested in his view to begin with, are you? You're really not.
And it just causes more problems.
And it just causes more problems, more conflict. Stop that conversation. So in other words, one of the things my client said to me is, but I don't want her to think that we accept him. Well, believe me, she knows you don't accept him.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to clarify that. Instead, what you need to do is provide harmony so that if he has a good side, then maybe it'll come out when he's with you if you provide that experience for the both of them. And then there have been times, I have other clients for whom this worked, and what happened was the daughter did end up getting a divorce in another situation. And the thing is, though, is even if you know right from the get-go that right when the marriage occurred that this was not the right person, even if you know that, unfortunately, my advice is to wait it out rather than constantly get into conflict with her about why he's the wrong person. You don't feel like you need to prove anything to her. You don't need to prove that you don't accept him. From moment 1, by the way you looked at him, talked to him, interacted with him, he knew it and she knows it. So, and plus she was raised by you. So she has your values. One of the things that people say to me who don't like this person, the daughter or the son-in-law, they say, why did they pick this person? He's not like us. Okay, well, maybe that's why she did pick him. That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Maybe she did that because she wasn't as comfortable with you as you thought she was. But the bottom line is, you need to wait it out, and you need to hope that she will come to her own conclusions. But people don't like it when I've said this to many people, and they don't like it when I say wait it out. What people want me to say is, you tell her, you sit her down and you say, you shouldn't be with this person. You shouldn't. Look what he's doing. He's not working. Doesn't have an education. But unfortunately, that's not going to get you what you want. So I'm here to say, you need to wait it out. You need to pull back. You need to still be in contact with them, but not be in her face. And you need to allow your child to take the lead. If they want to talk to you about the guy's a louse or whatever, then you're open to hearing and listening. But even then, your role is not to chime in and say, and he did that, and he did this, and it's not going to get you anywhere, and it's not going to help her. So your role is to be the support person for your child if they're not in a great marriage.
What about parents who are wondering if they already don't like the prospective spouse, let's say, and they're wondering, do I show up at the wedding? Do I even go to the wedding because I don't like them to begin with, to start it off?
100% yes. Because going to the wedding does not mean that you love the choice. Going to the wedding means that you've made a decision that you are not going to allow anything to get between you and your child. And mark my words, if you ask a child to choose between you and the spouse, or you and the prospective spouse, the person they're engaged to, they will choose them. I have also counseled people through that. And believe me when I tell you, you don't want to be in that situation. You do not want to be in a situation where you are estranged from your child, because sometimes the marriage doesn't work out and they won't come to you. Or the marriage is in trouble and they won't come to you. So you always need to be under there. I'm going to backtrack. There are very, very, very rare situations where I advise the adult child and parent relationship is too toxic, and I advise there to be estrangement. I have advised that, but only in very rare situations, and that's not this situation. That's another topic for another day. But in 99% of the cases, I say you go to that wedding. You absolutely go to the wedding, because you don't want your child to be estranged from you. And you are setting that up. If you don't show up for the wedding, that is a clear message to your child. You want to be in this marriage, you're in it alone, I'm not with you. And that is not the message you want to give to your adult child.
Great advice for starting it out and also finding your way through it and navigating your way through it.
It's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah,
It's
you're
not
right.
easy.
This one was a tricky one today. Special thanks to Susan Harf for helping us all navigate these tricky roads that we sometimes run across in our daily lives. If you would like to get in touch with Susan, you can reach her at reallife@blueridgepbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rose Martin, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.